Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Before I start this video, I just want to let you know that this video is for educational purposes only. And I'm not trying to instill fear into anybody, okay? I'm only going to give you the facts to the best of my ability with the information that's already out there on the internet. So, please do your own research so you can form your own opinions, all right? Please be nice to everybody everywhere, especially in the comments section below, okay? So, also, I know that we're all going through some really tough times right now, because of what's going on in Israel, what's going on here in the States, stuff like that, okay? But negativity is not needed, nor is it wanted. So, but, positivity can actually change a person's life, okay? So, what we're going to talk about today is the fact that last Saturday, or Sunday rather, senior Hamas leader, his name is Ali Baraka, B-A-R-A-K-A, told the tale of how Hamas duped, they duped Israel and the U.S. into complacency. Sick. Now, in an interview, this guy said, in the past couple of years, Hamas has adopted a rational, that word, rational, because it's not something that I would, a rational approach. It did not go into any war and did not join Islamic Jihad in its recent battle, meaning the 2022 missile assault on Israel. He said, we made them think that Hamas was busy with governing Gaza and that it wanted to focus on the 2.5 million Palestinians there and had abandoned the resistance altogether. All the while, under the table, Hamas was preparing for this big attack. They were preparing. Talk about deception. So in other words, they pretended it was a credible partner for negotiations, and that the only problem was Palestinian Islamic Jihad. It's Iranian founded, like a spinoff from like a what do you want to call it, like a sitcom, a spinoff. One of the frustrating aspects of this guy's admission, all right, because that's what this is, it's an admission pretty much of guilt here, is that there was nothing new about the deception. Deception is an integral part of the jihadist doctrine, going back to the days of Muhammad, just as important and frustratingly, even those who are unaware of or willingly blind to the centrality of Islamic jihadist doctrine and the beliefs for Hamas should still have been familiar with their tactics. It comes right out of like this playbook that they have, how like coaches on the sidelines have their playbook, right? And it can't ever be seen by the other teams. And you ever watch like a football game, and every time they even speak into their headsets, they always cover their mouths with their playbooks and stuff like that? Okay, it's like a playbook. So 5 days after Hamas did what they did to more than 1,300 of our Jewish brothers and sisters in southern Israel, and on the eve of this meeting that happened on Friday in Amman, Jordan, with the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, Palestinian Authority President and PLO Fatah Chief Mohammed Abbas released a statement. They're so good at releasing statements. He said, "We reject the practices of killing civilians or abusing them on both sides because they contravene morals, religion, and international law." Well, that statement is notable for many reasons. It doesn't name Hamas. It draws a moral equivalence between Israel's counterattack in Gaza and Hamas's organistic R-word torture, murder, immolation, kidnapping of babies, children, women, men, the whole shebang. Okay, the whole shebang. It just in a bubble. The whole thing in a nutshell. Okay, that's exact. Okay, and it came just after 5 days. 5. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In which Abbas and the rest of the Palestinian society did absolutely nothing but celebrate, hurrah, okay, and defend Hamas and their atrocities while blaming Israel for the crimes against humanity that Hamas conducted against its people. All right. So in this guy's speech on October 10th, our president, okay, because he had something to say, and he was intimidated. He was intimidated that Hamas isn't representative of the aspirations of the Palestinians, because let's not forget that, and I know I'm probably going to get backlash for this, but there are innocent civilians in Palestine as well, okay? In his words, Hamas does not stand for the Palestinian people's right to dignity and self-determination. You know, because not all, like I've said before, not all Muslims are bad people, okay? They're really not. One of my great friends who lives in California is Muslim, all right? And she's not this crazy, you know, person, all right? She's really not. So the subtext is obviously clear. Hamas is the bad guy here. And no one can deny that fact. The Palestinian Authority is the good guy. And if that were not apparent as the president spoke, Blinken's decision to meet with Abbas made the point explicit. So for 5 days, Abbas had nothing but praise for Hamas and condemnation for Israel. Now, as Palestinian Media Watch reported, the day after our president's speech, Biden's speech, Abbas issued a statement for solidarity with Hamas. And on October 11th, Abbas, A-B-B-A-S, because I know Hamas, Abbas, it all sounds the same, but it's Abbas, promised that the PA will stand with the people of the Gaza Strip, will not be alone. So the playbook, the PLO's playbook, ruling that Fatah faction, which Abbas also leads, gave gushing praise to Hamas. Why? It was reported on October 9th that Fatah's Central Committee praised Hamas. They praised them for the slaughter and called for national unity. I smack you right now for even and that is unity between the PA, the Palestinians, and Hamas. The goal, Fatah stated, is to rally in a real and conscious fashion around the possibility of national unity in the struggle on the ground, political and diplomatic unity, with all means possible to us in order to wage this campaign in a united fashion. I know, I just had to knock my sense into myself for even saying that, but his words, not mine. So Fatah also called for the Palestinians to join Hamas jihad against Israel. For the love of God. They said the public must answer calls to confront and stand up to the aggression and crimes in Gaza and the West Bank, and to escalate all conflict zones with the occupier, Israel, throughout our homeland, Palestine, in order to defend our people and stand with our residents in the Gaza Strip. Now, Fatah's terror franchise, the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, posted Quranic calls to jihad on its Telegram pages. Have you ever been on Telegram? These people, okay, these groups, if you will call them that, They use Telegram like it's their own Facebook. All right? I'm not kidding. Telegram scares the hell out of me because you never know what you're going to see. And they that are like indistinguishable from Hamas propaganda, quoting the verse from the Quran, calling for the annihilation of all of our Jewish brothers and sisters that Hamas uses in its charter and Fatah exhorted. Strike this. This is just disgusting. But these are his words, like I said, not mine. Strike the sons of the apes and the pigs, slaughter everyone who is Israeli. For the love of God. Are you serious, man? You step back, breathe. So following along the lines of this diplomatic unity, which he knows obviously nothing about, that the Fatah Central Committee called for, the PA is serving as Hamas's foreign ministry. And on Tuesday, its UN ambassador, Riyad Mansour, more than sour, so wrote a letter to Security Council accusing Israel of carrying out war crimes. No, that's on you. All right? And called its decision to stop providing Gaza with free water and electricity nothing less than genocidal. Look what you just did to them. And you still want them to provide you with what again? Sorry, Charlie, that's not how things work around here. I don't think there's enough coffee and chocolate in this world to help me understand and put my brain back together to make things clarified enough. So, on the ground, in the Palestinian Authority, the crowds greeted the news of Hamas's atrocities with jubilation. They celebrated, man. They celebrated, okay? It's like that story that I told you about what my husband had to deal with on 9/11 when he was working at the sheriff's office. They celebrated, man. Okay? Imagine being a police officer, knowing that we were under attack, and they were celebrating. And there was nothing you could do because your boss, the state of Florida, told you to stand down. What would you do? So I'll go on. Celebrations, victory marches, public parties were held from northern Samaria to the southern Hebron Hills. Palestinians mocked the victims on their social media accounts. One question. Have you ever gone to Facebook jail because you posted something political that wasn't agreed with and you got fact-checked the hell out of? Well, they're posting this shite on Facebook. Do you think they went to Facebook jail for 30 days? I doubt it. And they celebrated their mass murders. In Hurrah, which is Huwara, which I know I said that wrong, but at this point I could give a shite. Okay? In Samaria, there was a pizzeria that posted an advertisement featuring a Holocaust survivor grandmother who is now a hostage in Gaza. She survived the Holocaust. God bless her. Okay? And now this. So the fakery of this bastard, Abbas, whatever, his condemnation of Hamas's atrocities is self-evident when seen in the context of his actions and statements and those of the PA, the PLO, Fatah, and the Palestinian public. But it was clearly sufficient to convince Blinken that it is reasonable to meet with him and continue to base U.S. policy on the fiction that the PA represents a moderate force with Palestinian society, that it was willing to peacefully coexist with the Jewish state. That's a lie. So his lies and his deceptions are his modus operandi, just as they were the modus operandi of his predecessor, Yasser Arafat, and their comrades in the PLO and the Hamas. It's testament to Abbas's confidence and his contempt for the U.S. that he felt strong enough not to bother with a full-throttled fake condemnation for Hamas. In the PA's early days of the 1990s, just a real quick history lesson for you, Arafat would routinely condemn Hamas's attacks against Israel in English and then call for the Palestinians to slaughter them through jihad in Arabic. Yeah, did you know that? So just months after the PA was formed in Gaza and Jericho in 1994, Arafat set his security chief, Dahlan, Dahlan, to negotiate a cooperation pact with Hamas. And the deal was forged. It gave Hamas a free hand to slaughter, as long as the PLO wasn't implicated. So just as long as your hands didn't get dirty. Is that how I'm taking this? You rat bastard. So at the same time, Dahlan, was the head of the PLO's negotiations team on military affairs with Israel. And he charmed his Israeli, by people by speaking to them in Hebrew, and he learned in Israeli prison where he was jailed for terrorism convictions in the 1980s, because this guy, he's what a citizen he is, So the Israeli officials, they viewed him as a moderate, as the tough guy who would take out Hamas for Israel. So he smoked cigarettes with IDF generals at the same time that he closed a cooperation deal with Hamas, the terror master Mohammed Deif. Yeah, Deif. So in times of calm, where everything was, all right, we just don't know when, but we know, Hamas and the Palestinian authorities, they operated separately. And U.S. funded and trained PA security services gave Israel valuable intelligence that led to the breakup of many Hamas cells, or so we thought. But in times of terror offenses, they worked together. The worst of the worst group that operated during 2000 and 2004, the Palestinian terror war, which is AKA Second Intifada, was the so-called Popular Resistance Committees. It was composed of terrorists from Fatah, Hamas, and Islamic Jihad. Now, Hamas pretended separation from Islamic Jihad, and it used Islamic Jihad to persuade Israel and the U.S. that it has moderated was like the same trick, So Israel and the U.S. have refused to acknowledge that they have been played by the PA the same way that they were played by Hamas for the past couple of years. And Hamas was able to deceive Israel and the U.S. for 2 years because they wanted to be deceived, pretty much. They didn't want to, I'll believe it when I say it type thing. So Israel's generals, they wanted to believe that the Palestinians, they were like large, implacable foes, if you will, and they can't be appeased. They think we don't have to defeat them. Wrong. So this administration like most of his predecessors, wanted to believe that deception. But who wouldn't? You know, you don't want to believe that there's somebody or some group or whatever out there, you know, and to still believe it in this case because they want to believe that Israel is to blame for the violence waged against it, but it's not Israel. The lie of Israeli culpability is the foundation of 50 years of U.S. Middle East peacemaking efforts. So the lie of Palestinian moderation is the rationale for 50 years of near continuous U.S. pressure on Israel to concede territory to the Palestinians. It has been the justification, the rationale for the U.S. opposition to any effort by Israel to defeat the PLO on the battlefield. The constant assertion that there is no military solution to the Palestinian conflict with Israel is predicated on the notion that there is no, or there is, I should say, there is a political solution, which there isn't. But what happened on October 7th made it all clear. And not for the first time in it, or the 100th time either, that this isn't a political conflict, because it's not. You know, it's an existential one. And it isn't between Israel and Hamas like everybody thinks. It's between the vast majority of the Palestinian people. Look at the polls, with the majority always supporting acts of violence against the Jewish, and the entirety of the Palestinian leadership who actively seek Israel's physical annihilation and the genocide of the world, of the Jewish and Israel and the Jews, and who they just want to live in peace and freedom in the Jewish state of Israel. That's all they want. You know, that's all they want, just like the rest of us. So I hope, this made sense to you, because we are unfortunately going to be seeing a lot more dangerous deceptions being thrown our way. And it's only common when it comes to war that we're going to be seeing a lot more dangerous deceptions. But this is just another one. Okay. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less. Ciao.